So this backing brace now is fully attached to the hull, so I can go ahead and start drilling the holes on it. But I also wanted to show you that I have the lower trim here clamped up on the above the existing rails, just to give it, keep it in shape and to give me something to hold it in place. And then I was using my piece of tubing that I cut in half with sandpaper, and then put the sandpaper side down and just fold it over and then go like this on the rails, and then move the clamps around and do the spot that's underneath of it. But you can get a lot of it done before you have to move the clamp. So now I got these rounded over. I need to do that in the back here, and then I'll swap them side for side so the bottom is up and the up is down, and then I'll swap them back again, because now I want, before I attach them, I want to make to be certain that they're stained, and then they got a coat of epoxy on it, that I'm not messing up the hull by trying to stain it while it's in place, or epoxy over it now before I paint. But I want it epoxied on the surface before I put it back in, so that when I do paint, it'll be easy to wipe off anything that I see if it's got a couple coats of epoxy on it. It's not going to soak into the wood. Here's another little trick if you want to round over or something. Get a washer about the right size and put on the stick. Right now I'm making a little riser for the gudgeon on the stern panel, so just put your washer on there, and then you have something that you can shape down to. I'm going to put on the hardware for the rudder, the gudgeons anyway, and most boats are a lot closer than this because of the way this boat designed and the skeg and everything. I'm using some longer rebar, or some not rebar, but all thread, 3/8 all thread, and I've got it trapped in place, and I got my little piece of shim in here, 1/8 inch marine grade plywood, shaped to fit, and I got everything lined up, and then I got my C-clamp or vice grips down here holding this thing in place, and so I got my proper height and everything. So now go ahead, and I've got some holes lined up in here, my drill bit, and we'll make a hole. This is really a bitch when you've got the gradients and you're trying to tilt your head back. Check a couple times and drill once. There, I'll put a bolt in, we'll drill the rest of them. I mean, don't get too worked up on this. The square police aren't going to come along with T-squares and angle squares and all that kind of stuff to check. So as long as you're really close. I just put a 3/16 bolt stainless, just a temporary. It's too long. I've got to go to the hardware store tomorrow and get the right ones. But I will epoxy this on. I guess I'll probably do that after I get all the holes drilled, and then I'll have that on, and so then when we flip it over, it'll get painted over, and then I can sand it. I may fair in the sides, probably not, but yeah, we got her in place. Might as well drill the rest of the holes. I'll go ahead and do the rest of them. Just be certain that you're square up and going through and not at an angle, so when they on the other side they'll look, when the nuts and stuff are in place, they'll look in order. I got the rest of the holes drilled, but the thing I like about doing it this way is when you get done and it rotates, you know it'll be fine, because when I put the pintles on the rudder itself, I'll clamp them on to be certain that everything still functions correctly. So I can take all this off. I still need to drill the hole in the bottom, and then I'll go ahead and do that right now. One thing I may do, and then I've got this hole drilled, is I may overbore it to 1/4 of an inch or maybe even a little bit bigger, and then fill it back up with wood-filled epoxy, and then re-drill the hole later on, centered inside the epoxy, to keep any chance of water getting into the wood. When you put on winches on the big boats, when they've got either plywood cord holes or balsa cord holes, that's what you'll do. You'll locate your winch, bore the holes, overbore it. If it's wood inside, you may even whore out the hole a little bit between the layers of glass, fill that up with wood-filled epoxy or equivalent, and then come back and drill it again. So then there's no possible way that water can ever get in and damage either the balsa core or the plywood core on the deck. Well, our glass cloth has, the wet out anyway, is cured. So now I can trim off the excess, and then we can flip it over and go to the bandsaw and cut out the arc. I'll use something, I can't remember whether I used a bucket or whatever I used for the arc originally on a piece of cardboard, but I'll smooth it up before I cut it out. So let me get this done and we'll go on to the cut out, well, I'll cut it out. You can either do it with a bandsaw if you've got one, or else you can use it with a coping saw. It doesn't matter. Just make certain that you have good lines and you stay outside of them. Well, I have it cut out now, so then it's fairly even. Take your time when you're marking this up, and make certain and be sure that what you're doing is correct. Now I want to go ahead and sand it down and finish it off, and then get it ready for applying, because I need to put this on first in order to locate the ends, because it has to go on. This goes on first, and then I trim the ends to the side, and then the long ones overlap after I get this on and trimmed. The stain on the rails has cured for about 2 or 3 days now, and then on the finalized piece of the bling or the omega, whichever you want to call it. So now I've got a big 2x6 laid out with Visclean on top of it. I'm going to mix up some silver tip epoxy and give it the first coat, and then roll it out, and then wait a day and then give it another coat. I decided to do it off the boat that way, and I'm going to do some other things on the hull differently too. When you start thinking about how you want to put things together, and you look at it often enough, different things come into play that you didn't think about before. So there's some other sanding I'm going to do on the hull, and I was even half tempted to paint the spot in between the rails before I epoxy on this. I'll still think about that, but we'll get to that bridge when we cross it. Okay, it's just some more toothbrush work. And then before you get too carried away on the ends, you have the option of holding it. That last little bit can get sticky, so keep a rag around to keep your hands. A lot of this bit on the end will get trimmed off anyway.